Alright, so first things first, we need to set up our scene to actually work to real world measurements. So if we go into Windows, Settings and Preferences, we're going to click on Settings and make sure that our working units is set to centimeters. And we need to save that and close. So whenever I start a new project, I like to make sure I go into the preferences and I'm aware that the kind of defaults haven't reset to something else. I'm not working in millimeters or inches, centimeters. We can make scenes that look really good, but are absolutely teeny. No doubt about that, as long as you kind of get the relationship between the objects right. But when it comes to actually rendering and lighting a scene, if the distance between objects isn't right to real world, the maths behind how light bounces around the scene comes out completely funky, and it's going to mess with the harshness of the shadows. And those are kind of little problems that we can just fix if we just get the measurements right. So centimeters is what we want. Save. And next up, within our viewport, so we can change viewports by pressing spacebar to go in or out of any view. And if you somehow manage to break your viewports, on the left hand side of the screen, we can reset the viewport controls. So 2 up, 4 up, or single perspective. Failing that, if you break a viewport, panels in the very top of your viewport, panels, perspective, or orthographic, and you can choose front, side, top, etc. In case you want to customize it to fit your project. Right. So second thing, setting up the grid settings. So we're working in centimeters. So right now, if I create a cube and zoom in, this cube is likely to be 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter, but I don't want to trust Maya. I'm going to measure it myself. So if I go to create, measure tools and distance, so create, measure tools and distance. If I click on the left hand side of my cube and hold shift and click on the right, I can see that cube it's saying 1.005, but human error for clicking, we can see I've missed it a little bit. It's 1 centimeter in length. So we know that each of these cubes on the grid is currently 1 centimeter. So if we're trying to make a desk which is, I don't know, 90 centimeters wide, we'd need to go in and scale up this cube until it counts out 45 squares in each direction on the x-axis. But I don't know about you, I ain't going to sit there and count 45 squares. I'd rather set up my grid intelligently to be working to a larger scale. So if we right click on the grid symbol, so it's just underneath show in your viewport panel, grid options, and we can control how many units is, so a unit in this case is a centimeter, so how wide our grid is. So we say not many things in your bedroom are going to be longer than 2 meters, so that's 200 units. Grid lines so this is how often we're going to have a grid line. This is going to be, I don't know, we could do 20. So every 20 centimeters we'll have a new grid line. And subdivisions. So if I just quickly apply, every single one of these cubes is now 20 centimeters across. So create, measure tools, distance tool. And if I just hold down X on the keyboard, it's going to snap it to that point on the grid. Hold X, it's going to snap it to this grid point. We've got confirmation now, we've got 20 centimeters in width. But if I increase the subdivisions, we're going to end up with a division at every point in between. So just make sure that when you set up these top 2 values, you're working with 1 subdivision. All right, just so that you know you're getting exactly what you've entered here. The subdivisions, I generally only use it if I am working on a modular asset, which we'll cover later on in a year. And I'm trying to create assets which are going to snap together. So I'm trying to give myself extra points to snap assets to. All right. So that's setting up that scene. So at this point, I know that if I'm making a table which is 60 centimeters wide, I can scale it up so it's big enough for me to see. And if I hold down, oh no, I'm not going to cover that bit. You have to watch the next video. Boop.